I'm not going to be on too long. I'm really just going to farm, get some materials, because it's so easy to do in this part, so I'm going to do it. Because why not? Might as well get as much material as I can, right? This will be an extremely boring stream because I'm not making any actual game progress, and I'm not going to play that long, so. But, you know, whatever. Gonna see a lot of switching back and forth. Knock, knock, open the door. It's real. What's real, Ryan? Wish I didn't need that. Right. So, Ryan, as I was saying, I'm only going to be on very quickly. I was delayed by something. Ended up finding Dragon Ball, the old Dragon Ball Z movies. I found a new HD transfer of them online, so I was doing a bit of downloading. So that took up the bulk of my time, so I'm not going to be here very long, probably a half hour at the most, and I'm just doing this one part. Because with this game, EA decided, hey, let's do microtransactions in order for people to progress in the game and get all the good stuff, weapons. But there are exploits you can do to circumvent having to pay real money to get good stuff. And what I'm doing is one such exploit, which is this little room I'm going to, which will then lead me to resources that I can find and get me stuff for free instead of paying. And you better damn well be certain that I ain't paying no real money for this stuff. So if you see this stuff on the right-hand corner, resources. So the way the game works is if you're in a certain location and you reset or save and quit, it'll respawn those items. So instead of paying remasters or paying real money for DLC, I'm bucking the trend. I'm screwing the system. That's lyrics for X and get you. How's your day? Oh, really? X gonna give it to you, you mean? They never remastered DBZ show in HD. No, not the show. Toei never did. But they did last year in Japan, I think around August, on the Japanese version of Netflix and Amazon Prime Video. They did release remastered versions of the movies, of the 13 Dragon Ball Z movies, the 3 Dragon Ball movies, and the 10th anniversary special of Dragon Ball, done with Dragon Ball GT animation. They remastered those with new transfers, which look very, very good. Quite amazing. So they're not available in America or anywhere else outside of Japan. So I ended up finding them, and I got them now. But that's what took me a while. So So instead of actually doing in-game progress, I'm just going to be grinding for loot very quickly for about a half hour or so. But I'm here to talk, so if you want to chat some stuff up, that's what I'm here for. I'm not really here to play the game tonight. I'm just here to grind, baby. But to answer your question, how was my day? It was good. I filed my taxes today, so I did something productive. Got that out of my way, because in America you file your taxes, the deadline's usually April. But I figure I had nothing else to do today, so I might as well get it done, right? And as I said, there was a wrestling pay-per-view I watched earlier. Elimination Chamber. Got that out the way. As I was getting these Dragon Ball movies, so it's an okay day. Did some cleaning, which I usually do on Sundays. I do my vacuuming and whatnot. So it was an okay day. Nothing uber, crazy, but I don't expect that anymore. I'm not 20 years old. Sometimes you just gotta have a slow day to evaluate and see things in a more relaxed point of view. So I don't know how long I'm going to be grinding for, but I'll be grinding for a bit. I'm glad you pay your taxes. Remastering old shows in HD takes a lot of manpower and money, hence why you don't see them often. No, it's just that Toei is notoriously lazy for these types of things. So, in essence, what happened is, in America, they released the new Broly movie, but to market the release of the new Broly movie, they actually re-released some of the older Dragon Ball Z movies in theaters here in the U.S. Very select screenings, mind you, but when everyone saw them, they're like, wait a minute, these movies look a ton better than they ever did before. So that led to rumors that Toei was remastering them, and of course Toei never says anything. And then all of a sudden, all this stuff appears for streaming in Netflix Japan and Amazon streaming video. In Japan only, though. So then everyone's like, wait a minute, you remastered these movies. They look crispy clear than they have ever done before. Brand new 16:9 transfers. And then they're like, well, obviously, you're going to have to do a home video release, right? Because you can't just relegate it to streaming only. Yeah, Toei never said anything. But then in, I think, excuse me, I believe in November of last year, they started releasing some of these movies on Blu-ray in Japan. But the problem is with the Blu-rays, even though the Blu-rays should be better, Toei fucked it up. What did they do? Well, apparently they added digital noise reduction to the movies, which got rid of the film grain, which is an absolute travesty in my opinion. They also did a bit of censoring, which is very weird for Japan. Usually Japan doesn't censor a lot of things. They're like these quick little, like for example, there's one instance in one of the movies where one of the characters flips the middle finger. And apparently that's offensive in Japanese culture now, so they digitally altered the middle finger, got rid of it, which I think is totally dumb. So now, even though the Blu-ray physical media version should have been the definitive versions of those movies, they are not because they were censored. So now, fans have taken it upon themselves to take the streaming versions and put them online that people can watch them or download them or what have you. And those are the definitive masters so far. until either a redone Blu-ray is done here in the United States or elsewhere. It's very weird. So they just announced over the weekend that Toei is going to be doing a bunch of events for the 30th anniversary of Dragon Ball Z, which is this year. So they announced that in America, in the US, there's going to be some kind of home video release. So the rumor is that it's either going to be Dragon Ball Z, the full show done in HD, or these existing HD transfers of the movies will come out here in the States. So we'll just have to wait and see which one it actually is. But for now, I have these streaming versions that are definitive enough for me. The thing is, initially when these came out, they were raw Japanese, no subtitles, but fans have taken it upon themselves to take the videos, sources, and splice subtitles in from previous existing transfers, and that's what I just found. So I got 40, 50 gigs worth of stuff right now, so I'm a happy boy. Good time to be a Dragon Ball fan. DNR, I can't stand that. Me neither. Predator 1 on Blu-ray is one of the most notorious examples of DNR ruining the film. Yep. I have that version of Predator. I know they redid it. There was a 4K transfer that apparently got rid of the DNR. But yeah, that's a really prime example of taking a movie from the 80s where those cameras in that era really used a lot of grain. But that was part of it was part of the tone for the movie. You know, you're in the jungle, so the grain enhanced that feeling of being in the jungle, very dirty, grimy. And then the DNR, which Universal just slapped on without any care, made everything look really waxy and plastic, and that just ruins the tone of the movie. Terrible. Absolutely terrible. Unforgivable, really. So in the case of Dragon Ball, when you put DNR in those movies, you start getting rid of, fine lines like brush strokes or art black detail lines, black ink outlines and stuff like that, or you may lose details in things like clothing or the backgrounds, skies. So it just sucks. So I hope whatever home video release they plan on doing for the 30th anniversary, I hope they get this shit together and make it good. Because DNR is... Have you seen the new T2 Blu-ray? It's utterly bizarre. I haven't. I don't have it. I know they released it for 4K. But T2 has had so many releases, so I know at the time there was a German Blu-ray, which was the definitive version as far as like being untouched with DNR and things like that for a while. But then I heard that there was like some before the 4K transfer, I believe it was a red case Blu-ray that apparently was the definitive version. But then T2, what are you talking about though? Which version of the movie? Are you talking about theatrical? Are you talking about the director's cut? Are you talking about the TV cut? So many things, alternate ending. So that I don't know. I don't even know what the recent, I'm assuming it's the 4K Ultra Blu-ray is what you're talking about. I hate DNR. DNR is atrocious. It's a thing that should not exist, but unfortunately Universal is one, and Warner Brothers too, actually. But more so, Universal's notorious for a lot of their older catalog movies, 80s, 90s. They just slap DNR on it, just like an automated process, and just call it a day. And it ruins the integrity of what the cinematography and what the framing composition of the movie was. So I hear you, Ryan. It is no bueno. What am I looking at with resources? Ooh, not bad. James Cameron just released a new version of the film, totally changed the color grading of the film and replaced it with project CG. It's utterly, utterly bizarre. Did he? So he got rid of the blue tint in the movie? That's weird. The blue tint grade is part of the movie's signature. He'd get rid of the blue tint, really? I'm gonna have to look into that. So, like, color grading is a thing that, most casual moviegoers wouldn't understand. But color grading is such an important part of the film, right? And in most cases, you can ruin a film. Like, I know one of the biggest examples that I go to is Halloween. The original John Carpenter Halloween that's seen so many different home video releases. And the original film, the cinematographer, Dean Cundey, put a blue tint over the movie because a lot of the film was filmed in daylight. So in order to bypass shooting at night, he slapped a blue filter over everything to make it look like super dark. But for the emphasis and for Michael Myers himself as the shape, that blue tint really, really, really amplified the tension in that movie. So what happened is when that movie first hit DVD, I think it was Dimension or Miramax, which they had the rights, I think, at the time. They changed the color grade of the movie with like a yellow tint. So that totally threw the movie off, and it destroyed everything. So much to the point where fans were like, "How the hell could you just ruin this movie?" Blah blah blah. And where the original cinematographer Dean Cundey actually does not acknowledge that cut or that release of the film as worthy. So he eventually went back for the next release, which was the 25th anniversary, I believe, cut of the film, and he actually supervised the color grading of that home release. So then that was the definitive cut at the time. But now they had released Halloween on Blu-ray, and now those are the definitive cuts. So it's a tricky, tricky thing. But of course, you could say The Matrix, right? Because The Matrix, when that first came out to theater, the first Matrix, it had a yellowish tone, color grading to it. Because at the time, the Wachowskis didn't know that they would make a franchise out of The Matrix. So in order to separate the real world from The Matrix, whenever they were in The Matrix, you would see everything was yellowish. It wasn't until Matrix Revolutions came out that the Wachowskis decided that anything in the Matrix world would have a blue tint, or green tint, green. So they retroactively went back to the first Matrix and added that color grading to follow the logic of the sequels, where the Matrix world ended up with the green tint. And some people like that because it's consistent with all three movies now. But then there are some purists who are like, oh, well, You know, my Matrix is the yellow one, not the green one. In the case of the Matrix, I think, for consistency's sake, they made a good choice by going back to the first movie and taking it green. But everyone has different opinions, too. Blue tint is totally gone. The film looks like it was shot with modern lens, but to me it ruins the aesthetic. Touching up some effects with half-baked CG was also a bad idea. Really? So what scenes did they spruce up with CG? Like the T-1000, the liquid metal stuff, like transforming? Because, I mean, that was really good for its time. I mean, sure, it's aged not well over the years, but I still think it's very impressive for its time. I think videos of the new transfer are on YouTube. Just look up T2 4K Blu-ray. Not the YouTube video preparation impression, but you get the idea. Okay. Like, what are your thoughts on The Matrix? Because obviously The Matrix is a pretty famous example of that happening. You know, obviously, like I said, first theatrical run of the movie, the first Matrix was yellow, but then retroactively with the sequels, the Wachowskis went back and added the green tint to the Matrix parts of the movie, which I'm totally fine with, because it's consistent now with all three movies. But with the T2, yeah, why would you get rid of the blue tint? That's the signature of the movie, I believe. Terrible. You just hate it when movie studios just decide to muck shit up for no reason. Even though in this case you're saying it's James Cameron who did it, so like, why would he do that? So weird. I pray that no one's watching this expecting gameplay. Again, I'm just grinding for loot. And this is a fairly simple way to do it, risk-free too, and it's quick, so might as well. With the Matrix, I forgot about the original grading, so it doesn't bother me since I'm used to the new grading. As for T2, CG was added to mask the stuntmen's faces. Oh, okay. Like Arnold, yeah. To be fair, Cameron also completely acted as if the original superior monotrack T1 doesn't exist, as it's now completely erased out of existence. I did hear about that as well. So I know a lot of people were very adamant and up in arms when T1 was remastered, and he changed the all the sound effects, right? Like he added stuff that wasn't there, and even with the synth soundtrack, right? Didn't he add some like layers or remove layers of the music that just totally was unnecessary? I'm gonna have more medkits to know what to do with after this, jeez. Now we're gonna have to buy medkits again. What's up, Patrick? I listened to the original T1 mono track. It's so good. Really suits the grid of the film. The remix iPhone track is totally different sound effects. Yeah, I heard it back in the Laserdisc days, actually. Which I think that's, yeah, I heard it on Laserdisc way back in the day. Yeah, what's up, Patrick? Just to let you know, full disclosure, Patrick, I am not playing this game for progress right now. This game is notorious for having microtransactions for, like, upgrading your loot and gear. So I'm exploiting, I'm farming right now. So I'm not expecting to play this very long, it's just, I'm just catching up and looting stuff. So I hope that'll make you mad. I'm not playing the actual game per se today. You'll notice I'm going back and forth between the same two locations, so I am farming. But I hope you're well, Patrick. Hope everything's cool. How was your weekend, my man? How's the video quality on the stream, too? Because on OBS, I flipped a different setting. Because the thing is, since I'm using 144 Hz for my refresh rate, on stream, that doesn't translate well, so you end up getting, like, hiccups and stutters. But apparently there was a thing where I can adjust in the program that's hard-coded so that it renders only 60 frames on the stream. So I'm not sure how effective that is, or if it's even doing anything at all. So I can't really see it because I'm looking at my phone, and the phone is always going to be stuttering no matter what, so just curious what you guys see, if there's any, if it's more stuttering than normal, or if it's a little smoother. I have no idea. I figured I'd give it a shot, see if it made any difference. I need to get some Tungeon. Not sure why I'm not getting any more of that. I'm not getting any more tungsten. I'm noticing that. Look at all these medkits, wow. You know what, I can sell. You know, I've been recently playing RE4 a lot lately on both GameCube and PS3. It's funny, I think I'm in love with the game again. Maybe it's Remake 2 Burnout. I guess, because, you know, I know you're not a fan of the Scenario B, so maybe RE4 is giving you what you need. I never did play the PS3 version, so I don't know how much better it is. Does it run in 60 frames, or is it still 30? And does it have the black bar widescreen like the GameCube did, or do they actually get rid of that and it's actually native 16:9? There we go. There's a tungsten. Okay, I didn't need to do that. So I'm curious, if I don't find anything of note, instead of going back to the weapon arena, I just save and quit and just reload this, it should work. Because I'm not hitting any checkpoints here. I'm pretty sure I can do that. I'm gonna give it a try. Now, you know what, let's try. Let's just save and quit. Go back to solo campaign. Continue. Yep. Okay. So I only need to go to the weapon arena if my inventory is filled. That'll save some time. So that's good to know. So I was strictly following the guide I saw, but if I can deviate from that a little bit, it will make this a little bit less mundane than needed. And so like here I can go to the weapons because I'm almost full here. And I can actually move some ammo to save some more space. PS2 version is the GameCube version in widescreen. It's literally a perfect port, if not with some slowdown during more intense moments. As much as I love 60 FPS, RE4 wasn't designed to play that way. It does look so good, though. Especially those reload animations in 60 frames. Like that bolt action sniper rifle. I see what you mean, though. You know, initially, before I transitioned fully to PC gaming, I remember playing Resident Evil 5 on 360, and I was like, oh, you know, it's a steady frame rate. It doesn't really dip that much, especially with all the motion blur that the game used. I was like, yeah, 60 won't make that much of a difference. I was very stubborn. But then I played it on my PC, and I was like, oh, shit. So much more fidelity, though. Like, oof, can't go back. Now, Ryan, when you play Resident Evil 4, do you make it a mission to get all of the weapons? Or to complete all the shooting gallery stuff? I forget what weapons you unlock normally, because was it the Chicago typewriter? And the broken butterfly. Broken butterfly is so good. I remember for PS2 there were like those exclusive weapons, right? The Tommy gun. Oh, actually, I think that was the Chicago typewriter. And the was it the Las Plagas removal gun or whatever? It's basically like a one-shot kill. Kind of breaks the game, really. I hope that when we stream Resident Evil 4 on the stream, hope you guys enjoyed me giving a little anecdotes about what they're saying in Spanish, because I think that's always cool. Especially for people who don't speak Spanish, it's a nice little way to like get some extra little snippets here and there. Alright, no tungsten yet. It's kind of skimping out here on the tungsten. It's a bit of a shame. So let me see, what do I have Resident Evil 4 on? I have Resident Evil 4 on GameCube. I actually have the preview disc, which was a pre-order bonus at the time at GameStop, because GameStop had that like red steelbook type thing tin. And the preview disc is interesting, which I wanted to do on stream, but Paul didn't want to do it. So the preview disc is actually an earlier build of the game, where the the sound effects and stuff weren't like weren't finalized, so there were a lot of like placeholder sound effects put in, which was very interesting. And some of the HUD elements weren't finalized, so I think it's interesting. I would have loved to have shown it on stream for you guys. And the controller layout was a bit different too. But oh well. But what else do I have? Resident Evil 4 on it. Resident Evil 4 on. I think I have it on 360. It's a digital copy. I have it on Wii. I have it on PC, Steam. That's about it. I try to complete all the side missions, but I'm a minimalist in my gear. I only carry a handgun, shotgun, and a rifle. No bonus weapons for me. I was never one to carry too many gear in games ever. Do you expand your briefcase though? Your carrying case? You have me intrigued. Maybe I'll hunt down the preview disc ISO. Yeah, I'm sure you can get it. Yeah, it's so it's the first part of the game. It's where Leon gets out of the car, and it ends right at the village where you get the first fight, and the bell rings, and everyone goes to the church. Um, yeah, there's a few differences from the final game. Some sound effects aren't fully finalized. In particular, the ganado, when they speak, they don't actually speak Spanish. It's like gibberish that they speak. So at the time, I guess they didn't get the all the voice acting lines down, so they just had placeholder audio. So it's interesting. It's interesting. Definitely worth a look. Or just look it up on YouTube if you want. But I mean, if you can get the ISO, then go ahead, check it out. I brought the ISO too to show it on stream. I was like, nah. That's Paul. It is what it is. I'm still good. Just reload. I haven't played Resident Evil 4 uh, personally in a while. Not, I mean, Paul played it on stream. Um, I haven't played it on Steam yet. I always wanted to see how it would look on my rig, especially with mods and stuff that people have. Probably would look really nice, but I haven't had the time. Nope. This music is so not Dead Space. It sounds like something from Star Wars, like you're just flying around in Tatooine or something. This many systems, pretty annoying.
It's going through all these needless animations to get to where you want to go. Quite tedious. Alright, nothing there. Thought I could sell those frames, but I guess not. I was never big on Star Wars. Samurai Jack and Firefly were my Star Wars. You know, I always heard great things about Samurai Jack. Never did see it, though. I know it's from the guy who made Dexter's Laboratory. Was his name Jendi Tartakovsky or something like that? By that time, I wasn't watching anything American animated-wise, so... Heard good things, though. Firefly was great. Really awesome show. Kinda glad they never made a sequel or never brought it back, because it just wouldn't be the same. Even though Serenity was a real drag, because they just... Joss Whedon decided to kill everyone off. That's Joss Whedon for you. It's what he likes to do. So funny, because Serenity was the first movie I got on HD DVD back when that first came out. Serenity was the first title I got on that format. Really cool showcase at the time. A showcase movie to show off what HD DVD could do. I still think HD DVD should have won the war, really. But Sony had so many people in their pockets, so it was inevitable. Couldn't be helped. I actually have the HD DVD player for the Xbox 360. Still have it in the box somewhere. And that came with King Kong. Peter Jackson King Kong. Those are the days, man, being an early adopter, and of course, in my luck, I adopted early and it failed. Story of my life. think I'm gonna give it maybe 10 minutes, then I'll cut out of here. I think I've done this enough. So Ryan, does it still eat you up that I gave Paul Mask of the Phantasm for Christmas, and he'll never watch it? Does that eat away at your core, at your fiber? Kinda sucks too, because they did re-release it in theaters for limited engagement to hype up the Blu-ray release. I didn't get to see it, but I saw it during its initial theatrical run, so that was really cool. That was cool to see. Back in '93, I believe. So I was 8 years old. Samurai Jack was a total audio-visual treat, and there's barely any dialogue to its genuine work of art. Film what Star Wars could have been. My parents even watched the show. No kidding. How long is the show? Or how many seasons did it go for? I know there was the new one that came out. Samurai Jack Returns, I believe it was called. There we go, I got some tungsten now. Cool. This is going to be my last loop. When I do fill in my inventory, I'll go to the weapon box, I'll deposit it, then I'll be done. Pretty sure this is a good grind for what it was. Ooh, 2 pieces of tungsten, nice. Very nice. Alright, one more loop. Doesn't bother me, to be honest. The world is more interesting when people have different opinions. He doesn't like Batman. It's not our loss. I I just figured because it seemed like you were kind of drilling him to play Arkham Asylum, so I figured you were like really trying to nudge him into it, so. Yeah, there was one last season of Samurai Jack that came out over 14 years after it was cancelled, and they went all R rating. It was shocking for my mom. Really? So it was like Adult Swim only? What do you mean by R rating? Like, they don't actually curse, do they? Or it's just like bloody? I'm pretty sure I'm full here. Okay. I will go to the weapon storage, drop it off, and I'll be done for the night. What's my ammo at here? B72. Okay, that might be a bit much. Let's change that. .252. That seems a little bit more palatable. I meant there was death, on-screen killing, gore, and nudity. It was an Adult Swim, kind of jarring since the original show was a kid-friendly show, with cameos by Hanna-Barbera characters. Really? There were cameos. I wasn't aware. Anyways, that's enough for me. So yeah, Ryan, I apologize for not playing the actual game, but I knew I wasn't going to be playing very long, so I will catch you, I guess, Tuesday for the stream. So take care, Ryan. Have a good rest of your day. Hopefully work isn't too much of a drag. I will catch you later, dude.